Imagine you are in a supermarket, choosing what to have for dinner. The tenderloin is on discount and you know a great recipe. You know that tenderloin comes from pigs, but you realize that you're actually not sure what the life of the pig was like that was slaughtered. Do you have heard that there are serious welfare issues on pig farms? You also see a vegetarian option, but you've had it before and it does not taste quite as good. What do you do? Is it morally right that we breed pigs, raise them, and slaughter them for their meat? Ethics deals with how we should behave towards others. But who is included in this category of others? Throughout history, the concern of ethics has expanded. While many historical philosophers were sexist or racist and believed that men or people of certain races should be treated with higher regard, we now recognize that this is wrong. Ethics is not only about our behavior towards white men, but besides all men and women and children who should be considered. In particular, is ethics also about our behavior towards animals? Many people believe that there are important morally relevant differences between animals and humans that justify that we treat humans better than animals. In order to talk about the moral importance of different individuals, philosophers use the term moral status, whether individuals count as morally significant in their own right. When philosophers say that men and women have equal moral status, this means that their interests, the things that matter for them, count equally from a moral perspective, at least when other things are being equal. The most important question that animal ethics deals with is whether animals have moral status, and if so, how much do their interests matter compared to those of humans? In order to answer these questions, we need to ask what determines someone's moral status? Or to put this in another way, in virtue of what do we need to treat each other well? Some people think that animals have no or very little moral status because they are not very smart. Others say that this is because they have no language, or because they have no sense of morality. If they do not think about how they treat us, why should we think about how we should treat them? An important argument in animal ethics counters these positions. The argument is called the argument for marginal cases, and it is due to Australian philosopher Peter Singer. The argument can best be illustrated with a specific property in mind, such as intelligence. 1. In order to have moral status, you need to have a certain level of intelligence. 2. All humans have equal moral status. And 3. We now know that some animals are smarter than some humans. In conclusion, therefore, we must conclude that some animals have moral status. In fact, we now know that many pigs are quite good at solving puzzles. Much better than many humans, such as small babies, but also humans that are cognitively disabled. But we still think that those humans have moral status, that they matter morally. Peter Singer gives us a dilemma. We can say that intelligence determines moral status. But then we either have to accept that many animals, such as pigs, cows, birds, and primates, should count, or that many humans that are not very smart, such as babies and the cognitively disabled, do not count. But of course, all humans, including babies and the cognitively disabled, do count. So therefore, animals should also count. How about the other criteria? There are many animals that can communicate. There is even a gorilla called Coco who was able to use human sign language. And we also know that many apes and monkeys act according to moral rules of fairness. At the same time, we know that there are humans who do not have a sense of morality, such as psychopaths, and other humans that cannot communicate, such as those who are severely autistic. This is the central point of the argument for marginal cases. While many humans have characteristics that animals lack, there is no ethically relevant criterion that applies to all humans, but not to any animals. And therefore, if all humans have moral status, then so do many animals. The only criterion that separates humans from other animals is our biological species. But Peter Singer argues, this by itself cannot be a moral criterion. Racists may take race as a relevant criterion, and sexists may take sex as a relevant criterion. But that is racist and sexist. The same applies to discrimination on the basis of one's species. Peter Singer even has a name for this: speciesism. What really determines moral status, Singer argues, is not intelligence, the ability to communicate, or moral sense, but something different: our ability to feel pain. As the philosopher Jeremy Bentham wrote in 1789, the question is not, can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer? When we think whether or not to treat an other individual badly, we should ask, does this individual, whether it's an animal, a human, an alien, or a robot, feel pain? And if so, they count from a moral perspective. And if not, they do not. This leaves one important question. Do animals actually feel pain? Some philosophers throughout history have argued that we can treat animals badly if we want because they do not feel pain. French philosopher René Descartes, for example, believed that animals are like nature's robots. They may sometimes appear to be in pain, or to be happy, or to want to communicate with us, but this is just an illusion. However, neurological science has developed a lot since Descartes, and we now know that our pain sensations are regulated by our nervous system. And many animals, for example cows, pigs, and chickens, have nervous systems that are very similar to ours. So, to the best of our knowledge, we now know that animals do feel pain. Of course, this leaves some questions unanswered. Do pigs count the same as humans? There is room for debate. However, next time you stand in front of the meat, think about the life of our fellow beings and what it is like for them to live in large-scale farms that most of our meat comes from. Is buying meat really the right thing to do?